Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however you're watching, wherever you're watching, however you listen, wherever you're listening. It is the Bet Online Salute Detroit podcast, and we have the tripod here today. We are back in full effect, and I am still energized from that interview with Coach Henne. Man, that was great. We missed you, Jamal. You would have loved it.
I know, it sounded like it was amazing. I got a chance to watch it. That was phenomenal. Yeah, we were a little busy that day. LA Football Network. There were some concurrent interviews going on, some very good ones at the same time. But that was an outstanding one.
I will say this: Ryan is working hard behind the scenes to get another good guest. I'm not going to say who it is, but hopefully the interview with Coach Henne will lead on to our next guest, and fingers crossed, hopefully we get it. But Jamal, how have you been? How's your weekend? How's life? How's Liberty? How's the pursuit of happiness?
Oh, what a beautiful segue in, Coach. Well, great to see you guys. Obviously, missed you terribly on Friday. Weekend was good. Got a chance to watch some tennis. So there's always, that's Ooh. my love away from football. And so that was a good time. And now getting a chance to be with the Bearded Bandits, talking SC.
There we go. Right eye, how are you doing? It sounds like you're a lot better. You're no longer sick. You're coming off of your 3-month sickness. Everything's good.
We'll see how long it lasts. But I do feel much better. Thank you. What tennis tournament was this weekend, Jamal? Was there a big one?
Right, it was the Netflix Slam. There was a match between in Vegas, Rafa Nadal, Carlos Alcaraz. So got a chance to go out there and see that. So that was really fun.
Oh, did you go to it?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, he was there in full effect. I saw it on there. I was like, oh, man, look at Madman.
Wow, I didn't even know that. So you were hanging out with McVay and Cooper Kupp and Stafford and stuff?
Man, it was Cooper Kupp, McVay, Stafford were there, Charlize Theron, Colin Kaepernick, Michael Douglas, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Friend of the network, Kay Adams, was doing, broadcasting. I mean, it felt like everybody was out there. And it was right where we all did Radio Row together. It was Mandalay Bay right there. They converted it into, a tennis stadium where the Aces play, and it was phenomenal.
Wow, that's great. So all those star powers and Jamal Madney right in the thick
absolutely
of it.
riding the coattails right there. Absolutely.
I was just about to say, Ryan, he forgot the most important star, Jamal.
No, I mean, not at all. I was an innocent bystander. So, but it was tons of fun to watch. Rafa and Alcaraz put on a real show.
Who won? Or was it exhibition?
So the way they did it was it was a full set each, regular USTA scoring. And then if it was 1-1, it went to a 10-point tiebreak. That was how they decided it. And Alcaraz had 6 match points and Rafa fought off all 6. And then ultimately the 7th match point, Alcaraz won. But there was one kind of passing shot that Nadal had on match point, and he passed Alcaraz, and the place went bananas. And I had it recorded, and you should hear my voice. I mean, I sound like just a fanboy. I mean, it was a ton of fun.
Do you sound like a Swiftie?
I do. I mean, and there's also no coincidence that I have the musical taste of a 14-year-old girl, so it all works out really nicely.
There you go.
Do they call those Raffies? Is that what you're a Raffie?
Yeah.
There you go.
Raffies, actually phenomenal Mediterranean restaurant in Glendale. So, shout out to Raffies.
There you go. Look at that.
Madman, you're like what is that old food app where you need some place to go? I can't even remember the name of it. But if you needed to know where to go somewhere to eat, it was before Yelp, pre-Yelp. I don't remember the name of it, but
okay.
Like Fromers or something, or
what is it? Started with a Z.
Oh, Zagat?
There you go. Madman's like the Zagat.
Zagat. Love that old school reference.
There you go. Any type of food you need in any city, hit up at LAFC Jam, and he will let you know where to go, how it is, and he will give you a star rating. There you go.
Well, there you go.
They got it. So let's move on into why we're really here. Trojan football, they completed their staff today, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I think unless anything else changes, we should be set for at least the foreseeable future.
There you go. Staff is set. I'm throwing it over to Ryan so he can break that news to us about the new hire at USC.
Yeah, so we had talked a little bit about the running back coach some options, and they announced today that Anthony Jones from TCU was looking like it was trending that way last week and made official today. So, I mean, I think it's a solid hire. Excited to hear what you guys think. But, we've talked about this offense and what the running back means and running back coach means. But I think it's it's underappreciated, I guess. And I think he's a coach that's done a lot of good work. He's put 7 running backs in the NFL. If you look at some of the top ones, Antonio Gibson, Darrell Henderson, and obviously Tony Pollard, who's with the Cowboys right now. So, good recruiter, I think, overall, and also brings someone else that has a lot of ties in Texas that, kind of help the USC recruiting trail. So I don't think there's a ton we need to say. Get your guys' thoughts, but I think overall it's another really good hire of Lincoln Riley of, just continually stacking high pedigree, high guys that can develop players well with the staff. So Anthony Jones, welcome to USC.
Go ahead, man. I'm fixing something real fast.
Sure. No, Rye said it best. I think a really good hire. The only points I'll add that to sort of just fill in some of the pieces there that Rye brought, just a great summary there. Imani Bailey this past year was 14th in the country in rushing, top 20, 14th in rushing yards per game, top 20 in overall rushing yards for a rebuilding TCU team. I think their running game was actually the strength of that team this year. And then let's not forget, 2 years ago, he was on the staff of the TCU team that went all the way to the Natty, and he worked with Garrett Riley, Lincoln's brother. So he's fluent in speaking Riley. So I think that also helps a great deal in terms of kind of that continuity and familiarity. Rye talked about kind of the legacy of running back. So I think he's young, he's hungry. I think it's a really nice hire and will work out really well with the rest of that staff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. He's not learning a new offense. He's coming from Sonny Dykes, who's just pretty much comes out of the same Hal Mummy tree. The only thing he has to adjust to probably is new language, but working with Garrett Riley, they probably, hey, this guy's good. He knows what he's doing. Probably got the stamp of approval, and he just needs to learn the language. Everything else will work out itself. So I think, this is a good pickup. Completes the staff. One less thing you have to worry about now. Now you can roll into spring ball and make your way towards the college football playoff. You see what I said there, man? Playoff, not national championship. One step at a time. There you go. Playoff.
Love that.
we were able, Jamal, I know you watched it, but for those listening, if they didn't watch it, we were able to confirm when talking to Coach Henne that Taylor May is still on the staff. So good to hear.
Yes.
There was no talk of it at all, but yes, he's still on the staff. So that's good. Yeah. Not as running back coach as Al wanted, but he is on the staff on the defensive side.
Yeah. He's still on staff as defense. So that is correct. Moving on. So I'm just going to give a little disclaimer to our fans. This is the hardest season for us because we have to find things to talk about. And we have these long conversations throughout the week, maybe you're going to talk about throwing things out there. But this past weekend, something just fell in our lap like a gift from the gods, right? Our quarterback, still our quarterback, like T.O., not my quarterback, but I'm not going to cry. Our quarterback decided just to go to the combine for interviews. Caleb Williams decided just to go to the combine for interviews. Didn't do any medical examinations. Didn't throw, which is normal. And medical exam, didn't throw. But I will say this. He was out there very supportive of his teammates that were in the combine. And I did see a clip of him. He was the last one there and saying, good job to everybody. I don't know if that was for media or not, but he did do that. But the backlash from the media was so unusual. And I've never seen anything like this before. I feel like it's one of two things for me. It's either it's a shift in the tide in the media and they're uneducated about the sports because I'm starting to see this for a very long time, or they already have in their mind that Caleb Williams is a villain and they're going to make him the villain, which I think he's handling very well, but it's just so wrong and they're so off on what they say. And it's a little frustrating for me. I'll get your thoughts on it. I'll roll to Ryan first, and then after Ryan, go ahead, Jamal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I think we knew it was coming as soon as we knew it was coming in last year after you won the Heisman and all the off the field, not necessarily bad, but just the celebrity that is Caleb Williams being in LA, transferring, followed him from Oklahoma. And, we knew stuff was coming, unfortunately. And then now with the way the season went, it was just going to, double down. And it happens all the time during the draft is, whether it's leaks from the teams to see if they can get a guy to slide or whatnot, there's always going to be unfortunately, stuff that whether it's made up or whether it's just purely opinion or speculation or whatever that, media and other people come out and say and whatnot. So I'm not totally surprised. It is interesting how I think maybe we're hearing more noise because we cover SC, maybe nationally, maybe people would not notice as much, but because we're in the fold of SC and we cover Caleb Williams, we notice it more. Maybe that's a thing. Cause I know I've heard other people say that, Michigan people saying like, oh man, JJ McCarthy, most hated quarterback in college football. And I'm like, I haven't heard any hate of JJ McCarthy, but because we don't cover Michigan. So maybe that's it too. But yeah, I mean, to your point, Al, I think it's unfair. That's just me. That's my opinion. But it is what it is when you come with that clout, when you kind of tell everyone like, I'm great, I want to be great. Like you kind of have to expect what you're going to get. And I think he knew that. I think he's handled it well. And, with the throwing, Joe Burrow didn't throw, Andrew Luck didn't throw, Peyton Manning didn't throw. So I think the throwing is a non-issue. The medicals, I think we talked a little bit. I can't remember if it was offline, Al, or during the last show, but
it was offline.
He'll do his medicals when he does the team visits. So I don't think that matters a whole lot. But we'll talk more about it, but I just, on the surface, I'm not surprised. Like we kind of all knew this was coming.
Man, go ahead.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how this is sort of transpiring over the course of the end of the season to the combine. And then I think we're going to see a whole other animal in terms of the draft and the lead up to the draft, because presumably he's not going to be in his chair very long in the draft. So I think that couple of days leading in, I think it's going to kind of dial up even more. I think Ryan hit a really nice point there where I think there's so much noise around him, the vast majority of which is very unfair. But the fact that we expected it also in sort of covering him and covering this team has also kind of been indicative of certain things that he's done. And I think that part of this is also just growth. Part of this is becoming an adult. Part of this is learning how to deal with, as Ryan described, celebrity. And moving forward. And what's interesting is that everyone seems to be catching a different piece of the narrative. Like there's 4 concurrent stories going on about him in terms of like different characteristics and what he's doing and who he is. And Fred, I know you wanted to read my piece. I hope you got a chance to do that today.
Is it up? I'll go read it.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I'll tease it a little bit here, so hopefully folks can. I mean, I wanted to kind of really take a step back and take an objective view here of what's like totally a non-issue and then what really is at the heart of the matter. And for me, there's the stories about him crying, after games and, the whole sort of moment with his parents and whatnot. That's a total non-issue. And the fact that people are sort of bringing that up is so unfair. And it's so actually unethical, frankly, to sort of weaponize his emotions against him. I mean, we've seen Jordan, MJ, the GOAT, cry after winning his first title in 91, after winning it on Father's Day, after coming back in 96. We saw Kobe, after the Lakers lost the three-peat, cry and say, I'm never going to let this happen again, work myself to exhaustion. We saw Tom Brady choke up when he talked about what his father meant to him and him being a role model. All those folks were valorized. I mean, were mythologized for doing that as ultimate competitors. And so the fact that he did it, the fact that it's being weaponized, especially for someone who's so much younger, I think is wildly unfair. And that should be a non-story to begin with. The fingernails thing, I think, again, that's really in the realm of non-story. I think the only mistake he made with that was the FUCK. Like, there's no reason to do that, right? It doesn't matter who the opponent is. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter that you were doing it for charity. If I said on this show, for instance, every time we say Jamal's an idiot or Ryan's an idiot or Fred is an idiot, we'll donate $100 to the Children's Hospital. It sort of goes against, like, it's a charitable act, but it kind of goes against the essence of what makes charity, right? And that's sort of giving unconditionally, but giving in a way where you're maintaining someone else's dignity. And so I think that was a slight error of judgment. And if you've noticed, he's really shied away from the whole fingernails thing. That story's really died down. I think he's gotten some really good PR coaching. And let's move forward. Okay, so let's put that to bed. Then I think there's the PR piece. And I think this is where now we're starting to get a little bit warmer here. I think when he chose not to be interviewed in certain situations over the course of the season, I think that has hurt him. And it's hurt him in two ways. I think in one way, it shows maybe a lack of personal accountability. Hey, I only want to be up here when we're winning, and I don't want to be up here to answer the hard questions. But I think, again, that's a very teachable moment. But I think the deeper issue, and we've talked about this for months on different issues, and that is the media has a very long memory. The media is sort of very united together as we've playfully called them the mob or like an organization. And when you don't show up for media, what's happening, right? You're taking money and eyeballs and clicks and views out of different folks that are covering him or the team. You're taking money out of their pockets. And when you're taking money out of somebody's pocket, now the next time you show up for an appearance, they're going to remember that and they're going to band together. And it was like a game of Minesweeper, for God's sakes, when he had to sort of go up there, talk about his competitiveness and, is he afraid of competition and all of this stuff in terms of why are you not throwing, why are you not showing your medicals, like what's your deal kind of thing. Not to quote Jim Harbaugh, but it was sort of or Pete with Harbaugh, it was kind of like a what's your deal. So I think that's something he's going to need to learn moving forward, is that the Jordans and the LeBrons have so masterfully used the media as an ally when they've needed to. And I think he needs to start learning from his team, from his dad, from his advisors. Look, man, you got to show up to the media even when you don't feel like it, because this is how it can get away from you. And it can become a real problem down the line if you make an enemy out of the media. But again, that's a very teachable thing, and we can sort of move forward for there. To me, Fred, the only question that matters when it comes to Caleb Williams, if you are a GM, an owner, an investor, any sort of a business person who stands to gain from drafting him, the only question, the rest of this is just noise of people needing to fill time slots, media members needing to pay monthly rent. The only thing to me that matters, and the only question that I want the answer to, is why did USC have their best performance of the 2023 season without you? That's it. That's the only question I want to answer. And the quality of that answer and the truthfulness of that answer is going to determine whether I draft him, number one, or whether I trade down and get a boatload of assets. Was it, just the team had a chip on their shoulder? Was Miller Moss overprepared? Was Louisville unmotivated? Or was there something kind of structurally wrong in terms of team chemistry where there was a divide with your leadership? That's it. That's the only question that should be talked about from now until the draft, because he is obviously a generational talent. And I think hopefully we can sort of extract the signal from the noise, because the rest of this stuff is all noise.
Yeah, so like Ryan said, he named a buttload of people who didn't participate. There were probably 50 plus people who didn't participate over the hundreds of people that got invited. And then for that media member to address like you, why didn't you throw? Are you afraid to compete? That's a lack of homework by that person.
Sure.
And that person is there representing a company in the media saying, are you afraid to compete? Like, hold on, wait a minute. What about Jaden Daniels, who probably can't throw because of injury? What about Drake May? He's not out here throwing. You know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of people. What about Xavier Worthy? He ran his 240s and he didn't do anything. Like, you were unprepared. And so then that leads me to like the comment that I left. I was like, the media is getting worse and worse every year with their lack of knowledge of the history of sports. And the best example I could give is the Philly special. That's like the first time anybody ever seen the Philly special. But I remember watching the Rose Bowl against Michigan, and Matt Leinart scored a touchdown on that exact same play. You know what I mean?
Will.
Like, yeah, it's just it's a lack of information from the media. I will say this. I do agree with you, Jamal. He does need help, because it could go one or two ways. And I'm going to use baseball as a reference here. It could go the way of Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds, right? Media loves Mark McGwire. Mark McGwire was very friendly. Mark McGwire got out. He spoke. He's back in the game of baseball. Barry Bonds did not like the media, did not want to talk to the media. Barry Bonds is a Hall of Fame left fielder in any era, and he cannot get into the Hall of Fame just because they don't like him, right? Another thing I will address is Caleb Williams needs to change his team behind him. And I don't know how to say this correctly, but his dad is becoming kind of an issue. It's becoming kind of a John Morant thing. You start to hear stories of his dad saying he wants this, his dad saying he wants that. You don't know how true it is, but I will tell you this. When the NFL looks into players, they look deep. They do almost like an FBI background, and they look really, really deep, and they know what they're getting themselves into before they invest millions of dollars. His dad can become an issue. I want to say that again, and I want to emphasize the word that I used in there, can. His dad can, capital C-A-N, become an issue, right? Because of the demands that he's thrown out there. Like earlier in the season, he said, oh, well, if we're not going to Chicago. We only want L.A., D.C., this and that. Other than that, we're coming back. That was never true, but that's something his dad said, right? So, and then the media jumps on that, and then all of a sudden you have your front office all worried. His dad could say, they could have a great year, and his dad could say, we're going to request a trade. We don't like this season. Now you got your front office up in a worry for no reason, just off of something that you heard. That's one thing. Another thing is, I loved his response. His response was grade A competitor. Why do I need to come out here and throw, and I have 30 games of me in competition? Come see me in competition. Go watch my film. Go watch what I do. If you critique my film, I don't care. But you want to come out here and see me throw, and you see me throw before. I love that response. The other thing that I love, which I hope he starts this trend, just go for the media interview and the team interviews. Why do I need to go take a physical for the Rams? Why do I need to go take a physical for the Vikings, the Raiders, the Chargers? You know what I mean? Like, you guys aren't going to draft me. Oh, you're wasting my time now. My time is also valuable. You know what I'm saying? So when I go, what people don't know, and you guys know this because we talked about this, what people don't know is when you go on a visit to a team, you run a 40, you throw, you get a physical, you get weighed, you get interviewed all over again. Why do I need to do it in Indy for a bunch of people that doesn't matter? You're wasting my time. I agree with him on that. So back to my statement, the media is so misinformed. Now they're throwing slander out about him. Like you said, Jamal, he's a generational talent, and you're just slanderizing. On top of that, he's still a kid. I don't care what you say. You don't become adult till you turn 30 years old. You do a lot of stupid stuff in your 20s still. You know what I mean? Like, you don't become adult till you're 30.
I mean, you still do them in your 30s too, Fred.
Yeah,
you're just being kind right now.
Right. So it's like he's still.
I wish I could tell the law and the police that. Like, I'm under 30, guys. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's take it easy on me here.
Like, so it's like, come on, you guys. Like, at the end of the day, like you said, it's an ethics thing, and the media is slowly losing their ethics. And like you feel like you're a big man because you're jumping on a 23-year-old. Oh, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Oh, yeah, I got him. But he answered all your questions. You know what I mean? So he had a response to you. So you're not big. But like you said, it's clicks. It's covering stories. Shoot, it's taking our time right now. We're defending him. I will say this disclaimer. We've jumped on Caleb, but we're allowed to do that. We're like the uncles. We still love him. We're Trojans. You know what I mean? Like, we jumped on Caleb. That is a very important fact. Jamal, why were they so much better, and why was that team camaraderie so much better?
That's the question for me, Fred. Because and then that question has yet to be answered, right? And that's where the investigation has to go when you're talking background checks, and when you have to get to the why of that. And if the why of that is a very legitimate answer in terms of, look, it was just the timing and the roster, and it was just some unfortunate breaks that took place in this season, you have nothing to worry about. But if there was something structural there, that is a concern, because we cannot deny how not only was it the best performance of the season, it was so far above any other performance USC had in 2023. It's shocking. I mean, it's 2, 3, 4 standard deviations difference between that performance and the second best performance of the team. And then when you see the team run around and saying, we're a team now, we're finally a team. I mean, if I'm an investor and I'm putting in tens of millions of dollars in my investment, and I hear something so definitive that kind of touches at questioning my investment, I have to take a step back and say, what's going on over there? And I think that's really where this has to go. All of this other stuff, I think, is ridiculous. And I think, Fred, you brought up a great point. And then, Ryan, I'll pass it over to you. I may have cut you in line here. But
you're fine.
I think the first point you made, Fred, is really important. There is an issue with the elder Mr. Williams here, in the sense that his PR team is going to need to be able to corral him a little bit. This is Ja Morant. This is Lonzo Ball. I mean, when you talk about LeVar Ball, and we've lived it in LA on the other side of town in terms of kind of what LeVar Ball was, for his son. So much great. But, when you open your mouth so much, I remember the opening night with the Lakers, Lonzo Ball, Patrick Beverley was checking Lonzo Ball from 92 feet away from the basket on opening night, possession 3. And everyone's like, what is going on over here? And it was a direct response to LeVar Ball. So the fact that his dad is sort of saying things and it's always kind of linked back to his family, it's creating this sort of friction. Number 2, I think he's also said, look, I want to be the GOAT. I want to have more than Tom Brady. I came back with me and Marshawn are going to come back. We're going to win the title. I'm going to win a second natty. We're going to go out together. He's made some bold statements. Let's not pretend he has not. And so I think when you make bold statements, what happens? If you can back it up, you become a legend. If you can't back it up, you become a jester, right? And so there's that combination of things that are going on here as well. And then number 3, I think, again, there is a body language issue, and he needs some more PR training there. I actually disagree with the point that he handled things very well at the combine this week. I think he answered the questions. I think there were scripted answers, and he stuck to the script. And I want to give him credit for not getting unnerved when the questions were repeating, and he didn't give them any bait. So I think he did a really nice job there. But if you tell me that he actually did that media well, I would say you're absolutely crazy. Because human behavior says that it doesn't matter what you say. It matters how you say it, right? In terms of what we remember, 95% of what we remember is how you say something more than what you say. And I agree with you. The what he said was very good. But the slouching, and, the intonation slips, and he's always down, and he's always kind of like, I don't want to be here. I'm too, the impression is I'm too good for this. And we kind of saw that a little bit at Pac-12 Media Day as well before the start of the season. He has this sort of disengagement with the media. And when you take kind of human behavior into consideration, you say, well, all we're going to remember 95% is how you say something more than what you say. It's unfortunate, but it's sort of how we're wired as human beings. It's going to continue to feed to the fire. I think he needs a little bit more coaching. Stand up straight, have good posture, make him crack a little joke, make him laugh, have some fun with it. It looked like he was trying to take, some Advil or some Robitussin or some Tylenol up there. And so I think that's where he's going to need to fix some things moving forward. I think they're going to need to address the dad. I think he may need to dial down some of the statements. And then 3, I think he just needs to be a little bit more engaged in his media presences. So I think those are 3 very tangible things they can do moving forward, so this doesn't take off like wildfire.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No, I'll just add 2 things. One on, I don't disagree at all with anyone said, and that last point, Jamal, I don't disagree at all. The only thing I'll add to it is kind of like what you said earlier. And me personally, I'd always say, like, hey, you got to have the body language, be this. But we've seen over time, right? If you win, no one cares. Tom Brady was terrible with media when he lost. Bill Belichick, terrible with media when he loses. All these great players are terrible when they lose, but they just win a lot more than they lose. So no one cares. Now, Caleb's going to be a rookie, so you can't get away with that as a rookie. You better win early. So I'm not defending him or saying this is right. I'm just saying if you win, then it really doesn't matter if you have bad body language 2 games a year. I would still say do it. But anyway, that's just a little side point because, a lot of the greats are terrible in the media when they lose, and they're tough to talk to, and they're bristly and gristly, and they get defensive very easily. I mean, how many greats go off the handle on media when they lose because they're like, well, look at how much I've won, but they win. So the other thing I'll add, so we don't get long-winded, just in relation to media, like this stuff like this is why it's so hard for companies like us to get credibility and break through, because nobody's ruining it for us. The guy that asked that question is like a blogger for a dynasty fantasy football website. It's not even like a credible network, but it obviously he's the one that took the center stage and gets the, not fame, but that was the clip that everyone saw. And the NFL teams haven't as much, but the NFL specifically has given a lot longer leash to lesser known commodities to get access, which is why this guy was probably at the NFL Combine. And so I appreciate that for a smaller upstart company like ours. But man, it's frustrating when these smaller guys do that, because then it can ruin it for people like us in the long term. But it's also a great lessons for people like us here on this podcast and the rest of this network of what not to do at these events and how to hold yourself with professionalism when addressing these athletes, and how to, question things that are real questions and that actually are real stories that people care about. So that's neither here nor there. It's different, but it's just frustrating being someone in the media, hearing that and like, oh, that's what ruins it for all of us.
Yeah. So, one thing I will say is, to backtrack on that, and it's a very good point. And the person that did damage after a loss was Cam Newton, right? Cam Newton did the same thing for a very long time, even at Auburn. When he's off the field, he stands by himself, tucks the towel in his shoulder pads, just takes the game in. And this is, I just take the game in. I'm just watching the game. He's did this since Auburn, right? When's the national championship doing? Ends up being the rookie of the year doing it. NFL MVP, if I'm not mistaken, doing it, right? He gets smoked by Denver, has the worst press conference after the game. And I remember people saying, oh, man, like, why did he act like that, this and that? Like, he just lost the Super Bowl. He didn't just lose the Super Bowl. He got his teeth kicked in at the Super Bowl. I will be the same way. It'll be hard-pressed for me to talk.
Oh, you're making Ryan so happy right now,
It'll be hard-pressed for me
baby.
I'm just saying, like,
I remember that very well.
I'm watching Ryan's face just
he's
light
like,
up like
I know he's like, I remember
right
that.
Well, because the
Sorry
best
to
clip
interrupt,
is
Brett.
as Cam's trying to take questions, Chris Harris Jr. is chirping in the background, because the way they set it up in that Super Bowl was terrible. Like, everyone's in the same room doing press conferences. But anyway, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, it'll be hard pressed for me to talk and have a conversation with anybody after a loss, because I hate losing, right? And after that one interview, after he gets his teeth kicked in, he's a terrible person. He interviews terrible. His demeanor was bad. I feel like after that, that's when his career just took the decline, right? That's when all of a sudden it just went to the negative. So I 100% agree with you. He needs to be coached up on his body language and things like that, because his facade is a lot different than Tom Brady. Even Justin Fields, right? Justin Fields' interview's terrible. He has never had a positive interview, being it's the team he's on. But, like, nobody says anything about it. But this is what I do say, and I said this on our show when I had the Decide guys on here. Caleb does not need to go to Chicago. He does not need to go to DC. He needs to go to a later first round team. And the reason why I say this, just hear me out. I understand he's a generational talent. I understand the tradition.
He's going to Chicago, though.
I understand that. But Chicago's not developed. Chicago doesn't have any leadership, right? Even him going to Pittsburgh is a better situation for his career than going to Chicago. I'm not saying talent-wise. I'm saying as far as an organization, because they have cultural leadership. They tell you what it's like to be a Steeler. They have a very good coach who can get a handle on things. Like, going to a team that has a leadership and has the dynamic that understands this is what we do and this is how we're going to do it. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. Chicago, he can't do that. Chicago's like, we're stuck with you for 4 years. Regardless, we're not going to take the cap hit. We're stuck with you for 4 years. So that's what he needs. He's been the star for 3 years. He's been the guy. He might not be the guy. If he pops out to be the guy, more power to him. I'm not saying that, but it's a flip of a coin, heads or tails. Is he going to be a generational talent and chase Patrick Mahomes, or is he just going to be another first-round bust? That's the thing, and it's a very possibility. It's a 50-50 possibility for both. But him being in Pittsburgh at least could steer him in the right direction on how to handle the situation. In Chicago, he'll fall flat on his face. Go ahead. Any one of you guys could go ahead and take that.
No, I mean, Fred, I think it's a great point. I think there's a deeper level here in terms of what makes the media tick, also rightfully or wrongfully. Mm-hmm. And I think it kind of goes back to Ryan's point of players when they win versus players when they lose. There's some players who are terrible with the media. Think about Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
But yet he's so loved. He was terrible. He was literally like, I'm just here so I don't get fined, or Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace used to be like, both teams played hard. And everybody loved him, and
Popovich.
Think about Popovich. And then everybody loved him. And Jokic right now, the NBA's best player, the champ. He doesn't want anything to do with the media with the 20-foot pole, yet people still sort of tolerate it. And I think part of it is also, it comes down to a little bit of authenticity. Like even when Brady is gruff with the media, he's like, yeah, man, I'm pissed. I was throwing laptops all day on the sidelines. I was chewing into my teammates. I'm pissed, and I was pissed at them. I'm going to be pissed at you. But at least there's an engagement there, right? Like he's pissed. It's not pleasant. It's very uncomfortable, but he's there and he's engaged. The problem with Cam is a similar problem with Caleb right now, is their body language when they lose or when they don't want to be there is, I don't want to be here because I'm better than you. And when they win, they sort of turn on the charm and they're very, very charming. And then when they lose, it's such a 180 in terms of personality that it does two things. It makes the good feel fake. And two, it reinforces this idea that I'm better than you. So you can be bad with the media as long as you're authentic and engaged. If you're authentic and engaged, you could probably chew out the media. They'll be fine with it because they're getting some authenticity to a story or to a click or to a view. When you just totally disengage and retreat and you're like, whatever, like, yeah, that's the question. And like, if I'm answering your question right now, Fred, like, yeah, Fred, like, yeah, it's a question. And, we did what we had to do. And, you're asking me this and fight on, like you're going to be like, wow, Madman was, a dick
slippery
today,
noodle.
So it's like, but there's a difference there. And that's why he really needs a body language coach and he really needs some professional PR around him, because it's okay to not be positive with the media. You don't have to be diabetic. You don't have to put sugar on everything. But at the same time, the worst thing you can do is be so disengaged with the media in how you present yourself, even if your answers are good, because it creates fakeness in the good moments and it really allows folks in the bad moments to double down. And that's what happened to Cam, and that's what I'm afraid is happening to Caleb.
Yeah, well, hopefully he can fix it. Like I said, could be a Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds thing, right? And he still has time to change it, but if he doesn't, he'll be a Barry Bonds, right? Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall. He'll never get in the Hall because the media doesn't like him. Here you go. There's one guy in the media that dislikes Ken Griffey Jr. so much, he said he does not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. 99% vote. Like, so that one bad interview stuck on him for the rest of his life. So that clung on to him. So it's something he has to fix. It's something that he has to go moving forward. I'm pretty much done with this. Hopefully he fixes it. Hopefully it gets better. I wish nothing but the best for these kids. I wish nothing but the best for all these kids. But, Caleb is still our quarterback. He's still our guy. We could talk bad about him. Nobody else can, just like we did with Lincoln. So, because that's my quarterback, definitely. You guys got anything else before you wrap this thing up?
The only thing I'll add is we didn't really touch on it, but I thought rest of the Trojans had a nice combine. B. Rice, Tahj Washington looked great. Marshawn Lloyd, Jarrett Kingston, all defensive guys. So I thought there was 8 total Trojans at the combine, and I thought they all performed really well. Like Tahj Washington had a great combine. Some of those drills and stuff. So, hats off to those guys, and excited to see the draft process, which, we'll probably talk a little bit more about. Spring ball's coming up, so we'll have actual USC football to talk about, but we'll talk a little bit more about the potential Trojans coming up. Yeah, just wanted to shout out those guys. I thought they had a good combine.
Man, I'm super high on Tahj in the
NFL. I was just about to ask this question.
This is a different flavor of Amon-Ra, but this is sort of an Amon-Ra 2.0 type of situation. Yep. I'm super high on Tahj Washington, and I may go on a limb here, but if we look back 10 years from now, it wouldn't shock me if Tahj Washington had a better pro career than Caleb Williams.
Oh, no doubt. Definitely. No shock at all. I was going to give another comparison. I was going to say more Steve Smith.
Yeah. With the speed, and he's smaller for sure.
Yeah.
I was talking more in terms of just like productivity. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Steve Smith. So definitely. Guys, I appreciate you. Before we check out, I want to remind everybody to go to Underdog Fantasy, go to the Underdog Fantasy app, or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Put in promo code LAFBUSC, get a $100 match bonus. What is Underdog Fantasy, you ask? Sundays, they're loading us with NBA games from 9 o'clock in the morning all the way to 10 o'clock p.m. You could get a super parlay, pick 6 players, over, under, rebounds, scores, points, fantasy points, whatever it is. Have your pick, put them in, and then if they hit it, you win some money. So start planning your summer vacation with Underdog Fantasy. I appreciate you guys. It's been fun. It's been so much fun. How about we do this again on Thursday? How does that sound?
It sounds like enchanting.
There we go. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you fans. I appreciate everything. Oh, almost forgot. Go to LAFB Network. Check out Jamal's article. I've been waiting for this article. I thought he would send me a text like, hey, Fred, it's finally up. Because I wanted
Skinny T sent it. Skinny T sent it on Slack.
Oh,
you're very selective with your Slack usage, you know.
I started back to work today. So that's why.
Well, congratulations on your first day, Fred.
Yeah. So that's why I was kind of in and out. And then off screen, I'll tell you why I'm starting to become selective with Slack when we're done with this. But yeah. Go check out Jamal.
Juicy or offline.
We need to set up a Patreon. Go check out Jamal's article, LAFBnetwork.com. I'm going to check it out right now. I'm going to do some reading. I've been waiting for this. I was like, can I get a preview, Jamal? He's like, nope, you got to wait for it to come out. So he wouldn't even let me read it. So this must be a good one. So once again, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the fans. Thank you guys for watching. It's the Bet Online Salute Your Troy podcast. You guys know how it goes. Live free. Fight on.